Hey guys, Maniac, and I'm here with some more Maniac reviews, and today for Maniac reviews, I'm gonna be reviewing Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise with the famous run of Alright, so Edge of Tomorrow. First things I want to mention is I'm sorry that there was no Maniac reviews last week, but I was busy, and there'll be an update video coming out on some stuff this week that will be explaining some things furthermore about where I've been and what I've been doing, etc, 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 etc. So, let's start off with characters. There are really only three main characters in my opinion. Bill Paxton, because he's in this movie, Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. Kind of the three big actors are really the only three people that you need to really be worried about. As far as Tom Cruise go, I actually really like him in this movie. Why? Because he plays a coward. Usually you see Tom Cruise as the big badass Top Gun guy, and in this movie he's a coward, doesn't want to do what he's doing, doesn't want to be in the position that he's in, etc. It's really nice to kind of see a switch of change as Tom Cruise. Although I have not seen that many Tom Cruise movies myself, the movies that I have seen, he always plays a badass, and you usually never see him as some coward guy. As far as Emily Blunt's character goes, it's straightforward. She's just some woman who wants to kill every mimic there is, and those are the aliens of this movie. They're called mimics, and they're basically these weird, like, fast-moving, like, balls, tentacles. I don't even know what they are. I can't describe them. They look really cool too. Like the way that they move and stuff. I really like the way that they CGI'd them. And Bill Paxton is just the general who is a complete asshole. Really, that's all there is to it. But yeah, so let's go on to storyline now. Alright, the storyline of this movie is pretty simple. Tom Cruise is playing a scared little, officer in the government, and he ends up getting not really accidentally, but kind of getting forced out into the war, the invasion onto where the mimics have taken over. That is giant area of Europe. It's basically based off of when that meteor last year, if you guys remember, hit Russia. That actually was carrying these alien life forms, and therefore now it has taken over a big portion of Europe. Anyways though, so eventually when he's out on the battlefield his first time, he encounters something called an alpha. He kills this alpha, but its blood gets on him, so he dies. But when he dies, he goes back to the day before when he first woke up, because there's some thing with the alpha blood that he basically blended with the alpha blood, therefore giving him the power of which the Omega has to go back in time, which is basically the plot line of the whole movie, and then they have to go find the Omega and destroy it. So with the storyline, it kind of is confusing at the beginning, but once they start to explain it further out in the movie, it actually starts to make a lot of sense, and it's like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. The part that never did make sense to me was the fact that every time that he explained it to somebody, were all just like, because he would always explain it as he knew what was going to happen to that person, he knew stuff about that person, and therefore the person was just like, no, you don't. It's like, no one would believe him, right? Which I guess is kind of weird, but like, you would think that somebody along the way would eventually believe him after he tells them all this stuff. So, anyways though, besides all that, storyline's pretty good. It's interesting. It's a different thing that I don't think I've really seen other than Groundhog's Day. But yeah, let's get on to negatives and positives, because there's a lot in here. Alright, so negatives and positives are basically positives. Actually, no, I'm going to start off with negatives, because there's not that many in this movie, surprisingly, because it's a Tom Cruise movie. That's why I'm surprised that there's... Anyways, I think the only negative I would have is there's a lot of kind of just filler in stuff, a lot of padding that's just kind of supposed to be comedy, and then it's kind of weird because they started off really serious, like it's kind of like comedy serious kind of thing, right? And then it goes into just complete comedy, and it's just haha, he's dying over and over again. Look at this Rocky type montage of him dying and restarting the day all over again. And then it gets onto the very end where it's like serious. So like the first 2/3 of the movie is just kind of like a serious joke. I don't know how I can explain that. They're trying to be really serious and at the same time make as many jokes as possible. But because of that, they end up forcing some jokes. It's like, I'm not here to watch a comedy. I'm here to watch a Tom Cruise action movie, alright? Which I do get. You do get the Tom Cruise action movie. You also get a lot of twists with this movie. So let's go on to positives right now before I go any further. You do get a lot of twists in this movie. Now with me personally, the one thing that I absolutely hate about movies is when they're predictable. I'm really, like, I don't mean to like toot my own horn or anything, but it seems like to me it's really easy to guess what's going to happen in a movie. I can just guess, this person's going to die, but then they're not going to be dead because you can't just kill off this person, or this person's going to die and then this person's going to have to do this and the ending's going to turn out like this. Anyways though, there was a lot of stuff that happened that I did not see coming. A lot of twists and turns, like especially the end. I was just like, I thought, whoa, we actually have a good ending. Whoa! I thought it was going to be a bad ending to a pretty good movie, and they made it a good ending to wrap everything up. A nice little ending that could actually still kind of keep it open if they really wanted to do a sequel. Now some of you may be wondering, well, why would you want a sequel of this movie if you've already seen it? You're wondering, why would you want a sequel? Why? The reason why I say you might want a sequel is because there's a lot of stuff that they didn't explain, like why they were here, why the mimics were here, what they wanted from us. They don't really explain that. They kind of just briefly mention it once or twice. And why Bill Paxton was so freaking stupid about believing people that they can travel back in time and each time in the Omega theory and stuff and wouldn't believe anybody. Alright? Because I feel like there was more to that than they really explained. There was a lot to that movie that there was a good amount that they didn't explain, but there was a lot that could be explained enough to make a second movie and still, if they do it right, make it entertaining. And of course, this movie comes with another problem of time travel. I explained this more in the X-Men Days of Future Past, so I don't want to really go over it again. It's basically, time travel is a very hard thing to do when it comes to movies. There's a lot of stuff that if you miss, you screw up. They did not do that. I'm pretty sure they just played over they recorded it once and they went, this is great. Let's play it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's kind of the whole thing about the movie is, after you die and you come back, what are you going to do to change stuff? It's a really cool movie to watch, and it's not bad. Like, you usually see Tom Cruise movies as bad. People usually like to make fun of Tom Cruise. He did really good in this movie, I thought. I really liked him in this movie. I honestly didn't have that many problems with this movie other than kind of the jokey stuff when they were trying to be serious. It kind of did ruin the mood. It was kind of the same thing with RoboCop. They were with any part that Samuel Jackson was, they were trying to be as jokey as possible, have comedy relief when it's a really serious movie and you just don't put that in there. But they somehow did make this work, so it's not too big of an issue, but it is a bit of an issue. So because of that, I'm going to give this one a 4.8. I actually do recommend this movie if you like Tom Cruise, if you like action movies and sci-fi. This one is honestly not a bad movie to watch. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those things that's kind of just fun to watch. Gets you in and you get a few good laughs out of it, and you get a kind of, a bit of tear. No, that can be argued. Anyways, though, next week it shall be 22 Jump Street. Hopefully, if I get to it again, there's going to be an update coming out of where I've been, why my uploading schedule has been so inconsistent, etc. Coming out this week. So I will see you guys next time, or whatever I make, haters gonna drag on. Peace out. Boobity boop boop. Boop boop boop.